You know, sometimes I just get so frustrated because I feel like I thought I had my life figured out. It wasn't exactly a good plan. I mean, I recognize that somewhere along the ways in my life, I stopped believing in love, and I wanted to kind of have the appearance that I had everything going on, that I had it all, so that other people would leave me alone about it. And I mean, in my mind, I never actually expected any relationships to be fun. I just wanted to put my head down and do enough that people would not cause drama in my life. And now, now here I am, and I feel like I'm looking at my life and I'm looking at myself and I'm looking at you and everything that you're doing, and I'm seeing that I was the cause of the drama the whole freaking time. I am the king of drama, and it's crazy because I feel like I should mostly just be depressed about that. But I find myself laughing at myself, and it's usually in the back of my mind your voice. And there are just so many other things that keep happening, and it's like I don't know, like the universe is shouting at me. What's that song? That's the power of love. Like, you don't get to control it. It's not logical. It doesn't always match what you've been told you should want or life should be like. And it's not always going to be something that makes sense. It's not always something you're going to be able to predict. And it's usually going to be with the last person that you would expect. And I feel like now when I'm trying harder than ever to just let it go, to come up with I swear if you knew how many things that I had to do, feminine, just to keep from talking to you, just to pretend like I don't want to pretend to be too busy, to be happy, to not need it. Like there are so many things. I have lists that I write to try to keep myself away. The how different we are, or how much we're too much alike, or how many fights we've had, or how many things that we've done to each other that hurt, and none of them are enough. None of them are enough, and I feel like I keep I don't know if it's my guides or what. I don't understand all of it fully. I feel like I understand a lot more than I did, and it's hard to even let myself acknowledge that I do have that understanding, that I know exactly what this is, because I don't want to. I don't know. It's not that I don't want to. Feminine, so much of me wants to just ride in, to grab the nearest horse, and who cares if I'm a knight or a king or a page or whatever, just to ride in as fast as possible and scoop you up in my arms and say I don't care what anybody else thinks. But the I don't know, the logical side of me, I think you'd probably call it my king of swords side, is telling me that that's wrong. That even if you wouldn't reject me, even if the world wouldn't create a whole bunch of drama, that I would just hurt you and screw it up again. Like I always do. I always screw it up. And heart and soul, feminine, I don't want to hurt you anymore. But I feel like I don't know, I feel like there's this change in me, and I want to make it better, which I mean, you know me better than anyone else. Do you know how strange it is for me to feel that way? Like I've never wanted conflict. I've never wanted to hurt anyone, but I'm seeing now more than ever that I've really not put a lot of thoughtfulness into how I make others feel. And whenever they've tried to tell me that what I'm doing is hurting or hindering their success or hurting their feelings, I'm generally able to just ignore it and say, "Well, that's tough. You don't like it, don't interact with me," and go about my own thing. But with you, I can't do it. When you tell me that I hurt you, it hurts me. It's like hurting you hurts me. And I know that it hurts you even to tell me that I hurt you, and then it makes me feel like maybe this twin flame thing is real. That maybe we do have the same heart, the same soul. I don't know. What I do know is in this time when I mean, you're not chasing me, you're not pursuing me. I don't even see you. You're just glowing up. And it drives me nuts that I'm thinking about it that much, that I know that. Do you know how much that drives me nuts, feminine? That in this time when I should feel good, we've been separated enough. I've got enough distractions and drama and circusry in my life that there should be no time to think about you. And yet it feels like that is all I do. And right in the moments when I feel like I can take a deep breath and say, oh, okay, I'm thinking about something else, someone says your name, or a customer comes in with your name, or a new coworker comes in with your name, or they flirt with me the way that you flirted with me, or I have a fight with a karmic, or a karmic friend comes in and they say something that was totally something that you told me about, and I feel like I can hear the universe shouting, I told you so. And then that makes me scared because I want to reach out to you, and yet I'm so afraid of something so simple as you saying I told you so. And how stupid is that? I feel feminine. I feel like a prepubescent boy who's just learning that he likes girls and wants to give pretty flowers and folded origami to this cute girl in his class, but he's just so afraid that she won't like it that he doesn't, and he just sits there and holds on to it, and that drives me nuts, feminine, because I can clearly remember several arguments with you where you wish that I could heal and get back to that place where I was before I got hurt in so many different karmic relationships, and I told you it wasn't possible, and now here I sit. Here I sit in this situationship where I feel like that part of me is not just alive, but it's growing. Like the love is growing within me, and it defies all sensibility. And it sucks even more because I feel like everything that I did to you is being done to me. It's my karma. I know that it is. You told me so many times. The universe told me. Even I told you that I knew that I was facing my karma. And I don't know. It's funny because lately the strangest things have been happening. I mean, I get that I think about you when somebody says your name or does something like you do, but now I feel like I can hear you calling my name. And not in a fighting way, not in a bad way. It's just like this whisper in the back of my mind, and no matter how loud the thunder and lightning and rain and distractions around me, no matter how much my ears hurt with the ringing and the absurdity of this karmic circus around me, I can still hear you calling my name the way that you would when it was just the two of us alone. And I feel like I have this listless feeling in me where I'm yearning for a place that I call home, but I don't know where it is or what it is, and yet I do. Feminine, you're the only one that can make me feel like my lament about saying I don't know what to do is complete and utter shit. Just like that, I'm just so full of shit. I feel like that's the other thing I can hear is that every time in my own head that I think, "Oh, well, I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to fix it, or you know what, it would take so much work," I hear you laughing at me saying, "You're so full of shit." And what's stupid is if it was anybody else, I would be mad. I would feel disrespected, but from you, it just feels so loving and true. And it makes me not want to be that person anymore who sits and says he doesn't know what to do when he knows damn well what to do. And then lately, it's crazy. I feel like I've been seeing my own name, and my own name isn't even all that common. At least your name, it makes sense why I might hear it every so often, but with my name, it's such a trip to see my name there, and it feels wonderful and scary and creepy all at the same time because somehow I innately know in my heart that it's you calling my name, saying my name. And as much as I hate it, that I hate that I know this, that I feel this, that I'm trying so hard to be loyal in the situation I've been in the ways that I wasn't with you and should have been, in ways that I never even wanted to be until you told me to go. And then I was determined to prove my point and show you that I could do all that stuff if I wanted to and all that. And then now I feel like I set up this situation where I didn't want any of that, but I wanted to prove to you that I could do it if I chose to, and now it feels like the only thing I want, except I don't want it with who I've got. I want it with you. And I've never felt that way before. I've never felt like I really genuinely wanted to grow up. I feel like I've been telling myself that I want to lay roots, that I want it to be real, that I want to grow, that I want to be a good person. I want to have morals. I want to have courage. I want to have balls. I want to do the right thing no matter how hard or how scary, no matter how many people I got to fight off. And you know what, feminine? That's the craziest thing for me right now because I feel like I have all these visions of you surrounded by so many other masculines, and they're all treating you right, and they love anything that you'll give them. And I know why, because who wouldn't love you? Have you seen you? Have you experienced you? Do you know what you do to people? Do you know what you do to me? I feel like all these incredible emotions that I've been able to hold in, especially when I was allowing our connection to continue, just dashing in and out, feeling like I could have my cake and eat it too, and then it happened, and we disconnected, and I feel like you took the cake. And at first I was mad, but then I realized, well, of course that happened because you are the cake. In every one of my favorite flavors, in all of the right timing when I want or need those flavors, and sometimes it's even some sort of crazy health nut cake. And even though I don't want to grow up in those ways, I know that I need to, and I know that it's the perfect timing. And when I think of you, my cake, a cake that I prayed for, that was made for me, being sliced up and shared with other masculines, well, I don't even get to talk to you. I don't get to see you while I'm also seeing you in my mind, like that crazy, I don't know, remote viewing stuff that people talk about, to where I'm dreaming of you almost every night, and it scares the crap out of me. And for the first time in my life, I feel like I want to fight off every bit of competition that there is. Anybody who wants to come towards you, I feel like I want to be in the way. I want to be the one that they're compared to. I want to be the one sitting there, I don't know, I guess doing with you what you did to me, being like, they can't ever compare. Having that strange cocky confidence, just being impish and adorable, and I've never wanted that in my life. It's so overwhelming that, like, it makes me cry with fear and joy, and just this feeling of being alive at the idea of such absurd competition. I've never wanted that, feminine. I've never wanted that in my life. In fact, I can remember when you finally gave me a taste of my own medicine, when I would not commit, when I was determined to holding on to my options, and you told me I will not be an option like that. And if we're going to play that game, masculine, then it's going to be equal, and it's going to be fair, and you're going to be put through everything that you think is okay to do to me, and you did it. And the last thought in my mind was standing up, was saying no, was competing with other masculines, was this idea that I should be doing these corny romantic gestures and showing you that I love you and that nobody else can compare to me. In fact, I remember it wasn't even that long ago, I was more stuck in these self-defeating, pitiful thoughts about how replaceable I felt. I even told you that I left because I I felt replaceable, and I felt like you were so high caliber and you were so beautiful and amazing, and you didn't even see it, but I knew that all it would take was for you to see it, and then you would see who wouldn't want you, and then you would never want me. And that was part of why I would never have competed. Because why? Because if I could never win, if I could never be as good as another masculine who not only saw your worth because I saw your worth, but who who knew how to master himself enough to treat you the way that you deserve, that I could never compete. I would just it'd be like a clown trying to compete with the ringmaster. You know, somebody who could enjoy the absurdities the way that you talk about it, who could be delightful and fun, who could own their own BS and reciprocate the love, could never compete. And now I don't know. It's so strange. I don't know what this energy is, because it feels like that me who sat and felt pitiful, like the cowardly lion who thought that he didn't have any courage. It feels like that me is dying. And I feel scared about that because I've known that me for so long. And even more scary than that is you told me that that was happening. You told me that you saw the real me. You showed me. You showed me so many times, and it scared me more. And yet now I feel like a lion ready to roar, ready to stand up, ready to be leader of the pride. I feel like I am that, not alpha male, but like the alpha wolf, the one who doesn't need to be boisterous and show off, the one who doesn't need to prove that he is the king of the forest or the king of the jungle. I feel like I'm becoming this me who is absurdly confident in myself, who can be single, who can be together, who can be myself. And you don't even know, feminine. I mean, I think this is part of why I want to say spirit is keeping us separate at this moment, because it is so crazy for me. I mean, we had that moment where I told you I was feeling like giving up, and you did something I never expected. You suggested I do it and do it all the way and see what happens. You said it might be cathartic, it might be clarifying, and I've never experienced a moment more true than ever, because without you there, without me to, without you for me to hide in, if that makes any sense. It's like I feel like when you were there giving me all this love and light, even when you were fighting with me and I hated it, it felt like it gave me this safe haven, this net, this always knowing my feminine is there no matter what I do. And I got so used to that, knowing that I didn't have to rush, that I could take baby steps if I wanted to, and that you saw right through every absurd mask and costume I put on. And now you're gone. And I feel like part of me, I feel like the bigger part of me knows that that's not true, but I'm looking at the 3D, and anybody else that I have ever interacted with, there would never be going back from where we have been. And it's tearing me up. It's tearing me up inside to feel like I could have truly, genuinely messed it up bad enough to have lost you. You are the most tenacious, intuitive, and intelligent person that I have ever known. You've seen through every bit of bullshit, and to think for a minute that I convinced you that I didn't want you, that I didn't see you, that I wasn't loyal to you, that I didn't see you as this angel sent to me from heaven, as the gift, as the cake, as all the joy in my life. To think that I convinced you of that and that I've genuinely lost you, it drives me nuts, feminine, because one side of me feels like I know that you knew that we were going to go through this, and you were just 10 steps ahead of me, like you've always been, and that you knew we needed to go through this moment, that I needed to feel all these things. And the other side of me just keeps feeling like, no, I mean, look at her. She knows her worth. She's got self respect. Why would she mess around with a joke like me? I don't even know when to fold them. I don't even know how to stop self-sabotaging. I don't know so many things, and yet I do. And it's driving me nuts, feminine, because only you could show me that. I think I told you that once, and you tried to argue that I was good enough, that I would have learned that stuff anyways. That even if we'd never met, that I am that type of masculine. And I feel simultaneously like that's absurd, that I never could have learned this stuff if you had not, if spirit hadn't brought you into my life. And yet a part of me believes that it's true, that I really would have gotten there on my own no matter what, and it was just that much better because we met and interacted, and you were willing to not only be the most loving and kind and divine person in my life, but you were also willing to take me to task. You were willing to tell me about myself. You were willing to, I don't know, you do these things that where I swear it had been anybody else telling me about myself, telling me that I need to be more courageous, that sitting on the fence is what cowards do, that I need to stop playing these games, that I need to have more fun in my life, that I need to not do all the bullshit and the immaturity that I've been doing. I would have just told them to screw off and leave me alone and find somebody else to try to control. But with you, with you, feminine, I want to change. I want to change. I want to show you. I want, this is crazy, feminine, because I hate admitting that when I left and I got in these karmic circuses and situationships, that I wanted to prove a point to you. And I feel like this whole time all I've been doing is proving your points to me, and that you've been sitting there giggling at me the whole time. And now it's crazy, but I feel like I want to prove your points to you. I want I don't feel like I need to prove to you how great you are, how high caliber you are, how you really are sent from heaven, but I feel like I want to prove to you that everything you believe to be true about me is true. It just feels like I've got such a long road ahead of me. It feels like I'm so close and so far. It feels like we're each standing on the other side of railroad tracks. And it's only like 8 feet to cross them to get to you, but there's this crazy train in the middle, and it's so long and so loud, and it feels like the metaphorical version of all the karmics that I have allowed to stick around and influence me, and all these people that I felt like if I could make them think that I had everything they thought that I would have, that life would be grand and good, and yet I just feel empty every time I go for that. And now I have to undo it. Karmic thoughts, karmic people. I mean, even being single doesn't take all that stuff away. I guess somehow I was hoping that if I broke away, at least from the relationship aspects, and the influential friendships, that somehow magically it would all come together. I felt like when you were telling me that that's what I needed, to be free, to be me, to be on my own, that they would just all float in together, that you would just float in like a beautiful butterfly or ladybug or something, and it would just work. And I feel like there's still so much work to do, especially now that I'm looking myself in the mirror and there's nobody standing in front of me to blame for blocking my reflection. There's nobody there that I can blame for the decisions that I've made, that I will make, that it's all on me. And I feel like I'm somewhere in between recognizing what you said about how there's power in that, in not having anyone else to blame and being the only one who gets both the credit and the blame for anything that happens. And yet I'm still scared of it, because if I don't have some other feminine, if I don't have some family member or friend who's telling me what to do, and I can follow their advice and then tell them that it was all their fault that it didn't work, at least in my own head, it feels scary, feminine. I've never really let myself do that. I've never really had the time and the space. Even having you around, crazy as it sounds, it gave me a million excuses to not listen to my own thoughts. to not hear how I was talking to myself, how I was letting other people talk to me. And you, I don't know, you changed me. I know that part of me, like, I can't, it's strange because I don't want to put that on you, but I also do because I know that all the ways that you've changed me are for the best. Even it's strange. I'm hitting this point where I feel like even when bad things are happening, even with all the drama that's coming up from these karmics that I've told enough. I'm not taking any more shit. I'm not going to be controlled. I'm not going to be caged. I'm not going to play these ridiculous toxic games because look at my life. Look at where it has ended up. Every goal that I set for myself is in the dumpster and it's on fire. And I don't want to live that way anymore. I don't want to be a liar. I don't want to be a player. I don't want to do any of that stuff. And they are going crazy. They are trying to pull me back in, make me feel like everything I'm doing is a mistake. And yet somehow, feminine, it feels like you're whispering in my mind. You're whispering in my heart, in my soul, like you're plucking my soul like it's like a guitar. And you're not even doing it hard, and it's not loud, and yet it's the loudest thing I can hear right now. It feels like, like when you have a parent, like one parent who yells and yells and yells at you, and you don't like it, but you have to hear it because they're so freaking loud, and yet you can't really hear it at the same time because it's so loud. And then you have another parent that just comes up, and you could be this screaming kid doing all these ridiculous things, and yet they just say, "Come over here." And they whisper to you, and you have to listen because you can't hear them if you don't. And there's such a power in that. I know you know what I mean. I feel like I'm the one that showed you how to do that. That there's so much more power in whispering than yelling. And it feels like I've got all these people yelling at me, upset that I've completely changed the game, that the wheel of fortune has come in, and I'm determined to rise to the top, to achieve all those goals that I set myself that I knew were good. And they're causing all sorts of drama and things that even if I wanted to reach out to you, it just wouldn't make any sense because either I would take it out on you in ways that you don't deserve, or that it just wouldn't come out right because I'm recognizing that these karmics of all kinds, including some of the thoughts in my head, that they get me so riled up and reactive that even when all I want to do is come to you, feminine, and say, you know how much I love you. You're like the cherry on top of my life and the sprinkles and the whipped cream. And I feel like when I sit in your presence, even when I just sit by myself and think about sitting in your presence, I feel like I can think. I can hear myself think, and I feel like there's this most beautiful music always playing in the background, and there's pink everywhere, and the fragrance of beautiful flowers and good things to eat, and that you're you're bringing me cookies, which is so absurd to love, but I do. And it feels like for the first time, I don't know, this is crazy, feminine. All these epiphanies are coming through to me. It feels like I've lived my life listening to the loudest people in the room, just so afraid that they were going to yell at me again, that they were going to. I don't know, it feels like how I grew up, that I constantly had to worry about somebody pulling out the belt or slapping me across the face or telling the whole school about some embarrassing thing that I got caught doing at home and that I'd never live it down. And now it feels like I just want to listen to this little voice in my heart that reminds me of you. And the more that I focus on it, the less loud the rest of the world feels, no matter how much the crowd is yelling at me. And it makes me think of silly, corny, little kid things, cookies and milk, sleepovers and slumber parties, camping trips under the stars. Just that sweetness that I've missed in my life so much since we've been separated. And it's stupid because then I think about that, and then all these visions come in where I see you sharing that with other masculines, and I simultaneously know you've not lost a drop of love for me. You've simply recognized that there's no absurd reason why you shouldn't be enjoying life while I am caught in this ridiculous karmic carnival, still learning lessons I should have learned years ago. I mean, look at how old I am. How is it that I have not learned these things yet? And I'm so frustrated with myself, not only because I still have these to learn, but because the visions in my mind are as simple as you sharing cookies with other masculines and putting smirks and smiles on their faces. And I want to come in and punch them in the nose. I know that that's so immature and stupid, but that's how I feel. I feel like I don't want I don't want you to share that beautiful sweetness with anybody else. I know I have no place to say that or talk about it. I just that's how I feel, and it feels like you feminine are the only one who's ever made me feel that way. And it's crazy because it's not just that I want you to be mine. It's not just that I don't want your beautiful intimate light shared with anyone else. It's that I want to be worthy of being able to say that you're mine. I want to be worthy of knowing that you're mine because you choose to be, not because I manipulated you into it, not because I fought off all these other masculines, not because I was some karmic to you. I want to be that white knight in shining armor, except I don't want it to be fake. I don't want it to be pretend. I don't want to fake it till I make it. I want it to be real. I want I want so much for those days that you were telling me you were proud of me. I know that in many ways you weren't, but you were looking for the good. It feels like those are the kind of breadcrumbs that you've left for me to remember that even when things are horrible and it seems like nothing is going your way, you always got something to be grateful for, something to be proud of yourself for genuinely. That's righteous and moral and honorable and full of integrity. I want to be able to see texts from you and calls from you and that smile on your face when you tell me I'm so proud of you. And that's what's glowing in my heart, feminine, this feeling of this steady love with you that's fully committed and both feet in and no banana peels, no options, no backup plans, no secrets, no third parties, and no one anywhere ever questioning my love for you, least of all you. Because I know that I did that to you. I know that you're feeling it even now. Wondering, was it ever real? And even if it was, could I ever see it or feel it? Could I ever free myself and really stand up and be the masculine that Spirit has been showing you that I really am? I don't ever want that questioned again. And you, feminine, are the only one I've ever known to not only make me feel like I want to do that, but to have left so many breadcrumbs and Easter eggs that I know that I can do that I am doing that. I feel like for the first time in my life, I'm no longer stuck in that, well, you shoulda, coulda, woulda, and it is what it is. Now I'm in this place of I can make my own reality. I know I can line up on that timeline where you're at, that I can catch up to you, and that I will never have to worry about falling behind. It's a strange feeling. I'm still getting used to it. But it feels like it's growing. And ironically, whereas before, every karmic of every kind that got to me, like them, their voices are drowning in this great feeling that I can do it. And I know that I can thank you for that.